live demonstration of Construct 2. Alright, so Construct 2 is both a game development platform and a game engine. The game engine itself runs in HTML5, so by default you can create any game that runs in your browser. Then through a number of different frameworks you can export it to different platforms, so iOS, Android. Then they also have different exporters that will transfer your game and make it compatible with the Chrome Web Store, Facebook, Windows 8 apps, just a ton of different platforms. So let's dive into it. If there's any questions at any point, just raise your hand or ask a question.
Does it go for GUI as well?
Not quite yet.
Okay.
It goes to Android tablets and phones, but as far as implementing like the GUI controls and the API for all that, not yet, but I expect it to come soon, probably in the next 3 to 6 months. So I will start a new project. Within Construct 2, this is the interface. Whenever you start, you'll be presented with a number of different projects, and you can just kind of open one up, take it apart, repiece it, and have something together pretty quickly. So these are kind of a quick place to learn, a good jumping off point. I'll just pull up one of those. So this is just a little shooter game where you're running around looking for a ghost, but this was made with Construct 2. Should be a little ghost right here. There's a ghost. So this is the kind of stuff that you can do with Construct 2. And I forgot to mention it's a 2D framework, so doing 3D games is a little bit out of scope. But I'm going to throw together a simple platformer, and I'll show you how to do that. So you have two views. You have the layout view, and then you have the event sheet. The layout view is where you place your level, design your characters, put everything where it's supposed to be. And the event sheet is where you start programming your games. Construct 2, you can write your games in 2 different languages. There's the event language, which is kind of similar to GameMaker, and you have events that happen when a box collides with sword, destroy box. You can make games like that. If you know JavaScript and you're kind of having trouble putting something together with events, you can also write your own plugins with JavaScript and put those into the engine. So this is my layout right here. I'm going to double click, and I have this menu of all the different items I can add. You can do web things like talk with websites over Ajax. There's a ton of different plugins that you can add to your games to do things. There's things for Facebook specific functions. But right now I want something to appear on the screen. So most of the time when you want something to appear on the screen, something you actually see, that's a sprite. So I add the sprite right here. Now it brings up the sprite designer. I can import an image if I wanted to, but right now, there we go. So I'm just going to make a little character. So height, width, 8. And let's make it blue. Oh, alpha's at 0. There we go. The character. our character. I'm not an artist, so feel free to laugh at it. So I click close, and we have our character on the screen. It's a little bit big, so I'm just gonna resize him. And if you hold shift while resizing, it keeps the perspective. So if I hit, let me save it real quick. So if I hit play right now, we have our character. He doesn't really do anything. So if we come back to the interface, over here we also have things called behaviors. And behaviors are basically, what's the best way of describing it? Behaviors are a certain set of features that are implemented already. So it makes it easier if you're already going for something and there's behavior. Rather than designing it with 20 events, you can add a behavior to that object and use what's already there. So we're just going to make this character walk around. So rather than making a bunch of events to make the character walk, I'll click behaviors, click add. They have a behavior here for a platform. So now we have a platform behavior. It has different things like max speed, gravity, jump, strength. I click play, and our character drops off into oblivion. So we need to give him something to stand on. So double clicking, adding another sprite. This time, let's change the size, the height to be 2. I'm gonna make some brown. There we go. So now we have a platform, and we hit play. He still drops through it. So why that's happening is we don't have a behavior. So we go to behaviors, add one to this floor. And actually, before I get too far, just to make your life easier, you always want to make sure you name your sprites, or else you'll just end up with a mess of 200 sprites and no names, and it's going to make inventing really hard. So now, if we go to behaviors, add solid. And whenever you add a behavior, it gives you a description. So the solid basically says prevents objects from falling through it. Save. Now our character is able to stand. And since I'm using behavior, I'm able to use the arrow keys to automatically make him move, since behavior implements all that stuff. I can do the exact same thing with events, but if it's already there, why not use behavior? It's a good way to make sure you're able to keep your momentum. So we'll come back to the interface, or actually no, let's go. So if you hold control and drag, it will duplicate an object. So I'm just gonna make a simple little pathway for this character to walk. This one a little bit smaller. Alright, so we'll go back and we'll jump to the next platform, but the camera doesn't follow our character. So the best way, the easiest way to get that to work is to go to behaviors, add, scroll to. Always, and the description is always center the view on this object or midpoints of multiple objects. So this player character has 2 behaviors. One is platform, and one is to scroll to. Hit save. Now, if we walk, it follows our character.